So, I performed a poem at open mic last week written for the theme, The Things I Now Know. And I posted that video. I'll recite the poem here as well. But I was just thinking about the concept is basically about what happens in the afterlife. But there's a line about everything comes out in the cosmic wash. And for this theme, it was really about the things I know now and how eventually we'll see the secrets behind what's happening that we don't understand in our day to day. But really, this concept came to me. It's always come to me for a very long time when I see people argue, or if I have arguments with people myself, and I'm like, I wish we just had a recording of that conversation. Like back when reality TV was first becoming a thing, I used to wish that my family could be on a reality TV show so that then we could rewind and say, here's what you said. See, this is what you said. Because people are always like, but you said this. No, I didn't. Da, da, da. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if it were all recorded and we could just go back and watch it? And so sometimes I think like one day they're going to understand that I was right. Or, vice versa. I'll learn what their perspective was or their point of view. And I think about mistakes I've made and I'm like, maybe one day I'll understand why I did things the way I did. But anyway, I was just thinking about this concept of the cosmic wash. And I'm curious if anyone else has thought about that. So this is less of an instructional video. I'm not here to really share any tips or guidance, but I'm just going to share that poem. And I would love to hear your comments on if this is something you've ever thought about or what's something that has happened in your life that you're really curious, like what could possibly be the meaning behind that? Because a lot of times I feel like we learn a lesson and then we see the meaning or we kind of learn from it, but then there are other things that happen that we're just like, yeah, I don't know what I was supposed to learn from that. I don't know why that happened. All right, so here's the poem. On what we all thought was her deathbed, my mother said, at least now I'll get to find out who killed John Bonet. Because there are no secrets in the afterlife. It's all revealed on Judgment Day. And I've always liked to say that all of life's mysteries and misunderstandings will eventually come out in the cosmic wash. Leave it to death to put a kibosh on our mundane curiosities, unravel resentments and absolve animosities, for all the atrocities of Monday are bound to make sense one day. Perched atop a heavenly cloud, we'll look down and watch the movies of our lives from every angle. Perhaps then we can untangle the knots we tied through misinterpretation, and even the most confusing injustice will get its explanation. We'll learn which conspiracies were true from the start, and what prompted cavemen to first create art. We'll witness the moments in which one yes could have flipped the whole script, and spot the bump in the rug before we tripped. But in this film, we'll be stripped of our meat suits and see only our souls as they traverse the earth, interpreting their roles as fleshy beings. And perhaps then we'll start seeing the subtle, energetic forces that we know are key players in our prayers, but we can't fully grasp. And we'll finally clasp the loose ends of our more basic human questions. Like how Stacy will realize that Damien never ignored her because that one time she teasingly told him he annoyed her, but because he actually adored her to a degree that robbed him of his ability to meet her gaze. And Mama Jones will learn it wasn't Kurt's rebellious phase that made him skip school. It was his inability to conform to the unwritten rule of societal norms that everyone else seemed to just know. And Lacey will learn her lucky bamboo didn't grow because it was just a smidge too far from the east window. And over cosmic popcorn, Kelly will conclude that the doorman was never trying to be rude when he refused to say hi, but he was known to have a wandering eye, and he'd promised his wife, who he loved more than life, that he would look to her alone. and it will become known that Stacy didn't smirk because she was uptight, but because she engaged in a perpetual fight with social anxiety while thrust in a society that glorifies charisma and charm. But she never meant any harm, and neither did Neil, when instead of saying, "Good job, son," he just asked, "So what's next?" When all Billy wanted was to pass his dad's test. But as a father, he felt his job was to push his boy to do his best. And sweet Cindy will surmise that the world was never against her, but loneliness had convinced her that the worst fate of all would be to end up a spinster. And even though there's no way she could have missed her Mr. Amazing, it's not until she's gazing from her angelic post that she realizes just how deeply engrossed she was in the narrative that without him her life hadn't yet begun. She'd spent all those years pining when she could have been having fun if she just changed her story. But we can't go back in time, so all praise, honor, and glory to the things we now know. Lessons learned at the perfect tempo, keeping the beat of divinely timed flow, which sometimes feels a little slow. We wish we'd seen it sooner, but how would that go? Maybe we did see it, but we weren't ready to grow. And we can't get the up glow from the glow up until we consistently show up. And even though we may grow up, it's not until we grow wings that we fully understand those invisible strings. But wouldn't it be nice to have a clear crystal ball? The honest psychic will tell you that defeats the purpose of it all. We're meant to learn as we go, no more tomorrow than today. If we had all the answers now, there would be no game to play. So maybe finding out who killed John Bonet isn't what my mother needs just yet. And maybe one day we'll say thanks to our deepest regret. And we'll see the puppet strings behind the kismet. And our every doubt we will come to squash as the truth comes out in the cosmic wash. So actually, that being shared, my first idea for that theme was to write about all the things that I now know that I wish I didn't. Like, I wish I didn't know that certain things were good or bad, or like what was pretty and what was not, and wish we could just live our lives without all these judgments. And I had started a poem about that, which I recently shared in my newsletter that I send out. So if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, please go to my website, powerfulandpoised.com, and subscribe. If you vibe, hit subscribe to my newsletter where I send out little things like that, unfinished poems, announcements, thoughts, videos, whatever. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video. I, per usual, just had some time on my hands and decided to film. So thank you for watching. Oh, and announcement, I am starting a new TikTok channel called Calm Confidence, but for whatever reason, the handle is Calm Confidence 7. I didn't pick that. I don't know what's up with TikTok. But anyway, it is designed for men in their 20s who have never approached women in person and want to feel more comfortable talking to women and not relying on doing so behind a screen. And this is because I've had a number of male clients ask me for advice about this very topic. And so I'm starting a free channel on TikTok to help with that. So if that sounds like you or someone you know, please follow me on TikTok. And thanks again for watching. You're amazing.